What you're looking at is my 1966 Corsa Crown conversion. I'm making this video because I had someone on my YouTube channel ask me what is a Crown Corvair. So I thought I'd shoot this quick video to explain what I know about the Crown Corvair and how it came about. If anybody has any more information about it, or if they want to correct me if I say something wrong, please feel free to do so in the comments below. But this is what I know about the Crown conversion. It was a brainchild of a gentleman named Ted Trevor. Ted Trevor was a self-taught engineer. He loved racing cars, working on cars, and he was an avid hot rodder back in the 60s. In 1960, he started Crown manufacturing, and his expertise was actually converting Corvair engines into VW applications. He was very successful. He actually helped out with the Max Dune buggy, if you're familiar with that, and he sold several kits for that application. So the story has it that at his house, he had his wife's 1966 Corsa sent out there with no engine because he had taken it out for a VW application. Well, as a forward thinker, he thought about, hey, what about installing a V8 midshift in the car? He talked to several Chevrolet engineers and to find out that a lot of the cars in the 60s shared a lot of common parts. So he started working on that, and he came up with a special adapter bell housing to connect a V8 to a Corvair transaxle, thus making the first mid-engine Corvair produced. Now there's several types of mid-engine Corvairs out there now, but the Crown happened to be the first and original mid-engine conversion. He was very successful, and he actually built kits that people can buy or could buy to do this themselves in their own garage. The kit consists of many parts: the subframe, the shift adapters, the cooling lines, even a engine cover that would cover the engine, and a fiberglass seats. This car doesn't have it, but it's a fiberglass seat cover that would act as a engine shroud. So he was very successful. The car is a perfect almost 60-40 or 55-45 weight ratio. The transaxle runs in the way it should, the right direction. There's other conversions that rotates the transaxle backwards, that runs it backwards. A lot of these conversions have their pros and cons. The cons on actually this one here, a lot of people don't like, is the actual leg room, because the engine sits so far forward. The leg room gets kind of tight. I'm 6'2". I could drive it, I could ride in it. It is a little tight, but it's not too bad. But it makes it, because I love the car so much, it doesn't matter, if you know what I mean. Like I said, there's other conversions, but this is a Crown, the very first mid-engine conversion, the original. There is some out there still for sale. There's some kits you can still find out there to convert yourself. But I'm very proud of this car. I'm proud of the owners that had it previously to me. Did a great job converting it. Like I said, there's every one of these cars are different in some way. This one has a front cooling, some have rear cooling, some have different kind of engines in them, air cleaners. This one here actually has a roll bar with a Lexan firewall. Some people cover their engines, so a bunch of different applications. But this is a Crown. with a Corvair transactional. A lot of people ask me, how does a transactional work with the Corvair or the V8? Well, that's another flaw of the Corvair with the V8. You cannot step on the gas and do burnouts. You will tear up the rear end. But once you get it going, it's going. It's gone. It drives really well. It corners really well. Cooling is not an issue here. I live in Arizona where it gets about 110 degrees. And of course I don't drive when it's 110 degrees. I don't think anybody would out here without air conditioning. But short trips, it doesn't overheat. That's another question people ask. Doesn't it get hot in there? Let me show you the back real quick where the Corvair engine usually sits. So now I have a trunk. And in the back. So this is the rear of the Corvair. This is where the engine would normally sit. You can see they would plug the back in, put some support braces, but everything else is all Corvair. Of course, not the engine, but I'm talking about the suspension. So this is underneath the car. It's got a special shift rod that goes around the engine, a couple dents in them, but it works well. The cooling lines run inside the channel that's there for the, other Corvair dry shaft, and not dry shaft, but the shifting rod and cooling ducts. But you can see where the cooling pipes come out. Goes down on the bottom of the car, and it goes up into the trunk where the radiator is located. So let me talk about the cooling. I guess every car is different, but this is the typical cooling in a mid-conversion Corvair. The Corvair has got a radiator inserted in the front, and the shroud is cut out in the bottom, underneath the bumper. Again, everybody does a different way, cuts a different way in a hole. Some people will cut holes in here, so it's all different to the individual. So like I said, this is built in the back in the 70s, and in the 70s normally they had the wheel wells cut open so the air could come into the front and extract through the fender well. This has been changed. Before I purchased the car, it's got the fender wells covered back up. The floor underneath the trunk was cut out, so the air comes in through the radiator and out the bottom of the car, and it works rather well. So you can see the water lines come up through the bottom and into the radiator. I do have a hydraulic clutch and a Willwood master cylinder that works really well. Pretty simple setup. Got dual fans with temperature control, 4-core radiator. That keeps this thing pretty cool. So my next project is doing the interior. Gonna fix my seats. I got a new carpet to install. I think I'm gonna paint the dash, kind of touch that up. It needs a headliner redone inside. I just got the car back and actually had front disc brakes installed. All new bushings, ball joints, control arms. So the whole front end is completely done. If you have any questions or you want to see more video of the car, let me know. I'd be happy to share it with you.